So we're going to do a quick tutorial today on how to create a cutout 2D puppet in Blender. And we're starting with GIMP actually. We're going to take this vampire image and we're going to cut it out into a 2D puppet and import it into Blender and then animate it. It shouldn't take that long. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out pieces. I've already done the head. So we'll do the body next. So I'm taking the lasso tool, which is up here after you've opened GIMP. And then I'm going to very quickly, just go around and cut out his body here. And then we'll do the arms. Okay. So you want to kind of think of like, it's almost like a paper doll. You want to think of what's going to be on top of each other. So we're going to go ahead and copy this and go File, New. Okay. Go Edit, Paste. I'm going to create a new layer, hide that. Now, we've got our body, but it's a little bit big here, so we're going to take our selection tool, our box selection tool, and give yourself a little bit of room because of the way Blender handles images. We're going to go ahead and select the body and image crop to selection. So now we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer here. And what I am going to do is I am going to take the paint tool and I am going to select the black here. And I am going to basically cut out his head and just make it black so it'll look better when it's animated. Okay. So there's the body. And I'm going to export as. And this is, I already have the head here, so we're going to do the body.png, export. You want to make sure that you've got the alpha. Okay. The other parts real quick, and I'll get back to you. So we're going to go ahead and just wide out his mouth. So we're going to take his mouth and just very carefully make it so he doesn't have a mouth. Probably not going to look 100%, but this is just a tutorial. Okay. Let's take the blur tool here, kind of blend it together so it looks a little bit more natural. Okay. So we're going to create a new layer here. And we're going to draw some shapes for him. So, okay. So that's O. So let's do O. Do a smile. And then we'll do, I don't know, grr. Okay, so I got these three here. Now, what we're going to do with these is we're going to arrange them like this. Make sure that they have a lot of space between each other. In fact, I think like this looks really good, so we'll do that. We have up and down. I'm going to select that image, crop to selection, and we're going to export as mouth. Okay, so let's go over the different pieces we have here. Let's delete this, we don't need it. Okay, so we have PNGs, we have a head, a hand, well, two hands, two upper arms, two lower arms, a body, and a mouth. And they have alpha clip outs. So we're going to go ahead and just put those in there. Okay, so we've got all our pieces. Now we're going to put them together in Blender. Go ahead and open Blender. I'm using 4.0. I think 4.2 just came out, but I tend to wait a bit because they come out with a new version every like year. So when you start up Blender, there's going to be different settings you can choose. We'll do 2D animation. Okay. So we start out with our grease pencil here and our camera. We're going to call this, I don't know, vampire. I tend to have a different grease pencil for every object so I can then move them around each other. So we're going to take our vampire here, and this is the 2D layout. So here is our animation timeline. Here are the objects in our scene. This is the grease pencil, which has got the little line, and there's a camera. And this is actually 3D, but acting 2D. So you can do cool different things with that. But for right now, we're just going to be making a vampire. So this is the properties menus here. And we're going to go into the materials, which is going to be a ball. And we're just going to get rid of everything here. Add a new material. And we don't want stroke here. We want fill. Okay, so unclick stroke. Hit fill, and style, choose texture. Now for texture, we're going to go and we're going to go to our, and we're going to choose draw it about the size you want your thing to be. I'm going to draw mode here, square here, draw a thing, and hit enter, and your head will show up. Now, there are a couple problems with him, just off the bat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do edit mode. Okay, so this is object mode, this is draw mode. We're going to go to edit mode and hit A, which is going to select everything. So hit A, left mouse A, hit R. So A, R, Z, 180. Okay, and then R, Y, 180. Okay. So the reason we did that is because it's flipped. So you go into edit mode, hit A, rotate, and that's going to rotate it on the Z axis, so it's going to flip it. So now it's the right side. So we're going to do that for everything. So now we're going to basically put him in the center. So that is head. We're going to go ahead. We should rename these. Okay, so this is the layers here. So this is the materials. We're going to layers here. So we're going to do head here. And we're going to lock that layer for now. And this will be body. So go into our body material. And we're going to go ahead and draw him. So draw. Hit enter. And then we're going to go into edit mode. Rotate Z 180. Rotate Y 180. Then we're going to take our material, and this is the X location here. This is the Y location here. and then we're going to scale. Here it's a little bit different, so we're going to choose the mouth. And same as before, we're going to lock all and then unlock the mouth. Then enter into draw mode. Hit draw here. Okay. Now the mouth is at the bottom, so we actually want it at the top. So I'll fix that real quick. Now, what we're kind of going to do is scale X here. Okay, so I want that to be smaller, so we're going to scale that to 0.8. 0.8. Then we're going to move that. Okay, here we go. So I can click mouth here, and I can move to top. There we go. Okay. So now I can animate him. That mouth's still a little bit too big for him, so let's do 0.5. Okay, so I got that. Add here, go to armature and single bone. Now we're going to go into edit mode here. And we're basically going to take this bone here and we're going to name them. So here in the properties menu, we now have a bone object when we're in the edit menu for the bones. We're going to call this one body. Now we're going to select it, hit Control D, I'm sorry, Shift D. Go down. Now, when you go into pose mode here, it's going to rotate around the thicker part, so try to keep that in mind. So select the bone, hit Shift D, put that there. And if you want to, in fact, let's do this. Okay, so grab this ball here, hit E, and it makes a new bone. And then hit E again, it makes a new bone. So I've got upper arm R, lower arm R, and hand R. And you can choose, you can have these free floating or you can make them in like actual bones. So we're just going to grab the ball and hit E for extrude, and it creates 3 bones. So we do upper arm, L, lower arm, L, and hand L. Okay, so I got that. So let's do the head. And we'll do the head. Okay. So that's our basic rig. I don't really like the way these bones look though. So if you go into your armature, which is a little man running here, you can go into viewport display, and stick works pretty well for this. You can see things a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our, what do you call this? To our rig. And we're going to rig the head first. So we're going to go into relations. And we're going to choose the armature here. And it's going to be a bone, and we're going to choose head. So now, when I go into the armature, I choose pose, and I rotate it, the head rotates. So we're going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the vampire. So, mouth, armature, bone, head as well. And then we're going to choose hand, armature, bone, move the mouth. So we're going to go into our materials here, and we're going to choose our mouth. And you notice if we do this, it changes the mouth position. So we can actually hit this button here. You know what to do. All right. We're going to start animating him now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into pose mode. We're going to select our armature, hit pose mode. Okay. So I can rotate the head and hit I, hit available. And we don't want to be in grease pencil here, we want to be in dope sheet here. So you got dope sheet. Now if you hit the arrow keys, it'll go one by one, and then you can hit I and available. So I'm going to rotate him back, hit I and available. And I'll tween between them. Hit I and available. We can go back. Add some hand movement. So here, select the thing, hit R, and it'll rotate him. Rotate, and then hit A, and hit I, available. Okay, so now we got his body moving. So there's probably a way to do the mouth with the driver, but we can also animate it by moving the Y here. Hit, and we can hit this button here. Now you notice that's not exactly what we want. So the reason it's like that is because of the graph editor. So we can go in the graph editor and hit A, then key, interpolation mode, and then do constant. And then he can move his mouth. So we want to add another mouth just to keep. So we do O here. There we go. So that's very silly, but that's how that works. Now we're going to go into our compositing, which is basically the same thing. Or, you know, we don't even really, most of it you don't really have to do. But compositing, it's pretty simple. So we're going to call this character. And then we can create a new collection and call it background. Okay, so we got view layer here. We're going to do a new one and call it character layer. Now when we do that, we're going to unselect this and just have the character and the camera. So we're going to do another one. And we're going to do background layer. Then we'll have just the background showing. And in the background, let's add, no. We'll add just a random, I don't know, draw mode. Just something here. This is not right. Just so we have something. So we've got our background layer. So we're going to go into our compositing layer. If you look here, we've got character layer. This is the render layers. And these are kind of treated like, oh, we have to do here. We have to go one last thing. I think we do transparent here. So we have to go to our view layer, hit transparent. Then I believe it was in film. You also want to hit transparent in film. So we're going to go into the render, film, and transparent. So we're going to shift D, the render layer, choose our background layer. And then we're gonna hit Shift A, search, viewer. So hit F12. We've got that. So if we switch that, it's gonna be the. So we've got our layers here, and we can view them, and we can render them. So this is the render, and this is the viewer. So what we're going to do is Shift A, and we're going to do alpha over. I think it's, I'm not sure which way it is. It's the other way. Okay. So we've got our character here, our background here. We hit alpha over, we do a viewer and composite. So now we want to render the actual animation. So you're going to go to your render layer here, which is output. And we're going to choose, and if you want to, you can add sound if you want to. Let's go here, and we're going to go to video sequencer, and we're going to add sound. Do I even have any sounds? Probably. Okay, so we're just gonna, I don't know, big impact. Hit your space bar. I don't know, that sounds good. So we've got our video sequencer here. We added our audio, and we can do audio editing here if we want to. So we're going to hit our file here in our render layer, and I am going to take the animation, and we will do tutorial 2D cutout puppet, except, and we're going to call it vampire sequence. And let's see, let's go back to our dope sheet real quick. I don't want to render the like a ridiculous amount of stuff. So how much animation do we really have? Let's do it about 20. So we go to our output layer and frame range. Frame start is 0, so we're going to do about 20. So we got our output here. We want to do, I believe was this it? Yeah. Okay. So you want to choose FMPEG video. Make sure it's RGB. Although black and white would probably be fine for this, but we're going to choose RGB. And then we go to audio here. I'm going to do ACC to get the audio. Okay. So now we got that. I think there should be nothing crazy, but it's got audio and video. It's composited. And you can do a lot of stuff with the you can do anything in After Effects you can probably do here. A little bit more convoluted, but you can. So hit render animation, and I'll go through the render for you. Well, that's fun. Okay. So that's it.